Hello and welcome. This is Sharefa Al-Asfour. Welcome to my channel and my first video. I'm gonna present a tutorial about how to make card about coffee in Arabic sentiment. I'm gonna use paper property basic cards and in a size of 14.8 centimeters by 10.5 centimeters, and this is of course not folded. I like to buy these card sets because they come with their own envelopes in the same size and in the same color, so I don't have to look for cards at the same color. They come in a variety of colors, and I usually try to buy all varieties that I can find. I found this lovely craft color cardstock in Simon Says Stamp kit of February. I cut a size of the card which is minus half a centimeter to be the background of my card. I also used watercolor paper of 300 grams, and I don't usually use less than 300 grams for watercoloring. I used the die to cut the watercolor paper, and this is the shape. It's from a Sizzix shape. I think the size was the third, and I just measured it over the card, the one that was most suitable to be my centerpiece. And here it is. This is the size, and this is how I measured it. It's just by eye measuring. And this will be my centerpiece where I will do the watercoloring. And I used this Elizabeth Craft design folder of coffee beans. I really love this folder, and I pressed the craft paper inside it to give me this lovely texture of coffee beans that I will use as a background for my centerpiece. I'm going to use a stamp set from Crafts and More, and it's in Arabic, and it's called Coffee Time. Although there are many stamp sets related to coffee, this is the first one that comes in Arabic. I'm going to use the pictures of this container of coffee and the espresso coffee mugs, and this sentiment that says what means good morning coffee. And it's just an expression that indicates how much we love coffee. And I'll use a metallic luster in also a color called espresso. Also, I'll use a copper colored embossing powder, also mini blending tool, of course. Also Versamark, as long as there is an embossing powder. This Hero Arts Shadow ink in a color Cup of Joe, and a heating tool. For watercoloring, I just received a gift from my lovely sister Taiba. Thank you very much. She gave me 2 sets of Dr.Ph.Martin's Bombay sets, set 1 and set 2. And yesterday I did my shade guide, and I loved them too much. They are more of an inks than watercolors. So when you paint with them, they will give you more of an effect of a print than the gradient colors or the gradient effect you find with watercolors. And I try to find the colors that will match my papers. I just did my shade guide yesterday, which I will show you later. And here, of course, I can't work without my Misty, especially if I'm using embossing powder or sentiment, because I like my sentiment to look crisp, and I always have the fear that the sentiments do not look clear when I stamp with them, and I like to stamp over twice or maybe sometimes 3 times. This is the shade guide. I'm going to use sepia as the color for my coffee, and I'm gonna use blue color, and I decided to use the turquoise, and also I used the red color as a complementary color for the turquoise. I just picked the white just in case I needed to lighten the colors a little bit. I usually use water and I dilute the colors more so it looks lighter. I didn't use the white actually, but I just placed it there in case I'm gonna use it. So I will use my Misty and to stamp the picture with the embossing powder, and I'm gonna overlap both the coffee container and the coffee cups together. As you can see here, when I started working, and I apologize for that, I started working at the corner in which I didn't realize that I was working outside the photography area. However, I adjusted that mistake immediately afterwards. And when I use embossing powder, I like to stamp more than one layer with the Versamark or my glue ink, whatever I use. So here I stamped the coffee container and then I stamped the coffee cups as you see, and then I added the embossing powder, and with a brush I tried to erase the lines of the coffee container that overlap the cups so it looks like they're lying behind. I applied the metallic luster with my fingers and the mini blending tool, and then I used the corner punch to round the corners of the card, as you can see here. And then I started coloring with my watercolors. I usually use my craft sheet as a palette. As you see here, I don't care about detail, I just paint. And it gives the impression of a print. And here I'm using water with the colors, so this is diluted and this is not the pure concentrated color. For the background I added more water to give a lighter shade. These colors are really vibrant and they have really strong color, which I really love. And then after I finished, I used the metallic luster to give a distressing effect to the sides or to the edges of my centerpiece. And then I stamped Good Morning Coffee at the inside, and I started assembling my card with the square foams. To give a dimension to the card I'm making, I used Wink of Stella to give a glitter effect to the cups and the coffee container. I still feel something is missing, so I used the Novo glitter drops and I used Blue Lagoon color, and then I started adding drops on the centerpiece. And honestly, when I start with these Nuvo drops, I do not know when to stop. You can use sequins, you can use enamel stickers, or you can use gems, whatever you would like. This time my choice was on these lovely elements. I just wanted to mention that this card will be given to my lovely instructor, and he is like a man in his 60s, so that's why I had to make this card as masculine as possible, and I tried to devoid any feminine touch from it, and this is how it looked like. And of course, if you want to use Nouveaux, it's better to be your last step, or after you use it you need to wait till it dries, otherwise you're gonna ruin the card if you touch it. And this is the end result of my card or my project. It comes with an envelope with Good Morning Coffee inside in Arabic. This is the first tutorial I present. I hope you liked it, and in case you liked it, please press like and subscribe to know the latest projects, and I hope to see you later, maybe very soon, and I wish you happy crafting.